Good morning and welcome to the Saturday Morning Huddle. Kenny Roto alongside John Bozica for a recap of week number 4 in high school football in Stark County. And John, we had a couple of walk-off winners last night that we're going to get to. Some big performances individually. Teams playing great football, off to a great start. Conference play, league play beginning last night. So much going on in high school football in week 4. And we're going to break it all down for everybody here on the Saturday Morning Huddle. Excited to be with you again.
Yeah, you too, Ken, and very exciting night, to say the least. You know, the fact that you enter the night with some undefeateds and you exit the night with still a number of undefeateds, but some teams suffering their first loss, as you said, some big walk-off wins last night. Hoover, to name one that we'll talk about, Northwest, another that we'll talk about from last night. Neither of those games that we had, but our 3 games were interesting, and I think a lot of people were talking about our Altman Health Systems game last night. That was kind of the game of the week that folks were talking about between Lake and Perry, and that game did not disappoint at Lake in a battle of 3-0s. It's just crazy to think that it's week 4, and you know, we were saying during our broadcast last night that teams are starting to hit their stride now, and you're starting to get an idea of what their identity is as teams as well.
Absolutely. And we're going to run the scores for you on the scroll at the bottom of the page from all the games that we did. We'll break down all those games for you as well and tell you who did what and how they picked up the victory, or if it was a tough loss, what went wrong for a team. But we also want to thank our sponsors, John Bozica, right out of the gate here. Without them, we don't bring you the Saturday Morning Huddle here at 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. And remember, the replay on Rock Entertainment Sports Network every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. as well. So if you happen to miss us one Saturday morning, check it out on Sunday morning. But thanks to AkronAutoAuction.com, Marianne Donuts, Community One Credit Union. We'll give you our player of the week a little bit later. We'll give you our Marianne Donuts Sweet Play of the Week a little later. DeHoff Realtor, Ty Colucci, and Dirty Hands Excavating and Restoration. All of our sponsors, we appreciate them. And right there, the official food of football, Old Carolina Barbecue. Each and every game that we do on Friday night, we hand out our Old Carolina Barbecue player of the game. They get a gift card, and then we come together for Saturday morning and get our Community One Credit Union player of the week. And great conversation about and text messaging last night about who should win player of the week this week.
It was. It's always kind of a bit of a debate, but last night certainly went back and forth. I think some of that is because a couple of our games were not the best in terms of closeness last night. And, you know, sometimes it's tough to decide on that. But speaking of those games, Kenny, I know we've got all of those scores from last night, and I think we should run those down at the outset so that people can get an idea of who won last night and how we got to week 5, which is upon us.
Yeah, here we go. Flying through all of them for you. So listen closely for your team to see how they did last night. McKinley, a 38-0 winner over Glen Oak in the Federal League opener for both teams. An impressive performance for Renzi Parnell and the Bulldogs. Renzi will join us a little bit later on in the show. Lake, a 31-15 victor over Perry. A big win for Lake in that Federal League matchup. Both teams came in undefeated. One leaves undefeated. That would be the Blue Streaks. Congratulations to Dan DeGeorge and the Blue Streaks. A little bit later on in the show. Also in Federal League play, Hoover on the road. They remain undefeated. They get a 27-21 win over Green. So congratulations to Brian Baum and the Vikings. Brian Baum will be on the show here in a little bit. You're seeing some highlights there from the late game against Perry. We'll get highlights from other games for you throughout the morning as well. Jackson, a home winner over Mayfield in a non-conference game, 33-6. Maslin gets a W as they shut out Bennett out of New York, 35-0. We'll talk to Nate Moore a little bit later on in the show to see how the Tigers pitched that shutout. Louisville, 45, Marlington 7. How about that game? Chris Kappas and Louisville getting the job done. They remain undefeated. You had that game, John. You'll be breaking that down for us here in just a minute. Alliance, a winner over Ellett. 26-0 was the final score there. Minerva, Zach Slates. How about the Lions off to a 3-1 start as they beat Sandy Valley, unfortunately, now 0-4, 47-12. Northwest, a thrilling walk-off winner. We're going to see that, how it went down here very shortly. Northwest 32, Triway 29 in a Pac-7 matchup. East Canton remains undefeated, 37-0 over St. Thomas, who's 0-4. Fairless back on the winning track, 49-7 over Tusky Valley. AJ Sarbaugh and the Falcons are 3-1 on the year. Canton South on the short end of a 35-17 game to Manchester in a Pac-7 opener. Orville beat Tuslaw 38-7, and Salem keeps Central winless at 49-20, John. And why don't we get to our Marianne Donut sweet play of the week? Because you and I were debating about this. We picked one, but there's a close second. And I'll let you take this away here as we get a look at those delicious, sweet donuts from Marianne Donuts, John.
No question. We debated this.
Yep.
We went back and forth, and we decided on this play. The game winner last night from the Hoover Green game. You see Hoover quarterback Tyson Hunka trying to scramble into the end zone late. He took the snap, Kenny and I determined, from the 14-yard line, scrambled out to the right, had a chance to get to the goal line, and was met by Hoover's Aiden Kavanaugh and Carter Lukens on this play that ended up being the difference. You can see it again here. You see Hunka looking around, scrambling right, trying to get to the goal line and coming up short. And Ken, we were lucky this morning because we were hoping that, we'd get more than one shot of this play. And sometimes you're lucky enough to have access to the all 22. Well, guess what?
Yep.
We're lucky enough to have access. You can see it from above right here from the drone shot. How about this, Kenny?
Yeah, look at that. He takes the snap all the way back at the 20. Ball was on the 14, and he decides, you know what? I'm going to run for it. It looks to be my best option. And Joe Godnowski and Aiden Kavanaugh come up and make the tackle. As we're watching this, Brian Baum is texting me. It was third down from the 14, and he said Joe Godnowski and Aiden Kavanaugh made the tackle on that play from the eye in the sky, the all 22. And show it again, John, because you and I were debating, was there anybody open, right? As we watch this Marianne Donut sweet play of the week, the walk-off winner, a goal line stand, if you will. Hunka's looking. Coverage is pretty good. Maybe somebody open around the 5-yard line, but both defenders come up and close on that, and then everybody comes to the ball, and they keep Hunka out of the end zone, and the celebration begins on the road for the Hoover Vikings. So that's a huge win, and what a way to end the game. And it is our sweet play of the week, courtesy of Marianne Donuts. Not many times, I think, this year, John, we may have a goal line stand, a walk-off winner, as our sweet play of the week. So that kind of edged out our other contestant for our sweet play of the week.
It did. And, of course, thanks to the Hall Report from Instagram for providing us with this angle of the play as part of our sweet play. Kenny, we did want to say, too, that I know we've got Coach Kappas and Louisville in the queue waiting to join us. We'll get to them in a second, but we had a runner-up from last night, and for good reason. Not very often that you get two kind of walk-off winners in the same night, but Northwest kicker Ben Shantz knocks it through the uprights. Game tied at 29, and look at this kick, folks.
Dude, he hits this sucker, and it would have been good from about 50 yards. That was a 37-yarder, and the Indians go absolutely crazy, mobbing Ben Shantz as he drills this sucker. Look at that. Perfect snap, perfect hold, perfect kick, walk-off winner, 32-29, the final score there as Northwest, John DeMarco and the boys improved to 2-1. They beat Triway by 3 on this outstanding kick from Ben Shantz. And thank you to the Northwest Touchdown Club for that video. Look, that thing goes into the trees. back there at Northwest. So he got all of that one. So congratulations to both Hoover and Northwest with walk-off wins.
Actually heard from John DeMarco this morning that Andrew Barry gave him a call to see if he could start at kicker for the Browns this coming week.
He can't do any worse than Andre Schmitz did. Schmitz happened last week in a negative way for the Browns. Ben Shantz put a jersey on, travel out to Baltimore, and help the Browns beat the Ravens this week.
Could be a big difference for Coach Kevin Stefanski and the Browns this week. Hey, we've got our first guest that we welcome to the Saturday morning huddle, and there's 3 of them that we're joining us, as we've got Louisville's Chris Kappas, as well as Owen DiMarzio, and of course, Luke Seaman joining us this morning. Guys, thanks for joining the huddle. 4-0, Coach. Congrats on starting the season perfect.
Thank you. It's been a good start, and it's a fun group to be around every day.
Coach, go ahead, John.
I was going to say, Coach, the way that things kick off last night, an opening kickoff return by Owen DiMarzio, what kind of tone did that set for the night?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, anytime you can open a game with a big return in general, but to get it all the way back to the end zone, Owen did a great job, man. Just we had a great blocks, and then you see his speed take over there at the end, and it's a great way to start a game.
Owen, tell us what you saw. You take the ball, and then you're off, and you're trying to get to the end zone. How did it develop, I guess, throughout the play?
It's just everything we practiced throughout the week, and we pride ourselves in special teams and just being able to see those blocks set in place at the perfect timing, like we know that they have to be, because they can't be held very long. When you see them and they're just perfect timed, you know it's going to be a big play.
Well, and not just for you too, Owen, but also Luke, for you, a big special teams play, a block for a touchdown in the second half. That had to be exciting for you as well.
Yeah. Like Coach said, it's one of the best feelings in football, in that block and the thud right after echoing through the stadium. It's a great feeling.
You want to hear that double thud, right? The kick and then the block, Coach. That's a beautiful sound to a head coach, isn't it?
That's what I always say. I want to record that sometime and use that as like my text message tone. That double thud.
Guys, I know we have some of the highlights from last night, and I want to get a look at some of those. And I want to start with this throw, Coach Cap. This was an impressive play. This was right towards the middle part of the second quarter. But take me through this play and this throw that kind of set that. And just take me through some of Gabe Stouffer's night as well.
Yeah, Gabe, again, very efficient all night, taking care of the football. That touchdown right there. I mean, you see Gabe getting hit as he throws. He does a great job staying in there, delivering a throw, and he knows, he gets it out there to Quinn. He's gonna go up and get it. And a great adjustment by Quinn coming back to the ball and then finding his way into the end zone. But you can see from all these clips, Gabe just being very efficient, not forcing anything, using his legs when he has to, getting positive plays, and again, that's what makes Gabe so effective is understanding what we're trying to do, but also taking care of the football and being efficient.
Coach, one of the things that I've seen from Gabe, and this is rare because a lot of times we talk about, oh, that quarterback's a game manager. Oh, that quarterback, is a big play quarterback. Oh, he's a dual threat. Gabe's kind of all 3 of those wrapped up into one, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I think his passing is very underrated. He's known for his legs, and he's one of our best runners too. But he's a student of the game. He spends the time preparing and really understanding what the defense is trying to do and then how we're trying to attack it. And and then he always does a great job just pulling it down and running it when he has to, and he can make some guys miss.
Oh, and for you, the way that the offense has really started to kind of take on its own life as the season has gone along. Oftentimes people would expect you to be the running back, but it seems like you just fit in where you need. Tell me why that's been so effective this year, that guys just seem to fit into their role where they need to.
It's just a mindset coming into it. If you need to play a different position to help the team out, that's what you got to do. And it doesn't matter who it is. If they're willing to work for a different position to benefit the team, then that's what we need to do.
As I look at good teams, fellas, I see Exactly that, a team, offense, defense, and special teams. And coach, and the players can talk about this if they'd like as well. Coach, kickoff return for a touchdown, punt block, scoop and score there by Luke, and Parker Dom with a field goal. And I'm guessing he made all of his extra points yesterday. How important is that, coach, as you navigate your way through this season to make sure special teams is clicking on all cylinders as well as O&D?
We really stress special teams, and we try to get our best players in positions on special teams to succeed. And last night we had a big punt, over a 50-yard punt that went out inside the 5-yard line. We had 2 punt returns that went over 25 yards. So, and you look at all 4 of our wins, special teams have been a big part of every single one of those wins. And, we stress special teams all the time. We practice them hard. And our coaches do a great job of getting our guys in a good position to be successful in those.
And fellas, can you touch on that a little bit too? Owen, you start, and then Luke, you chime in. How important special teams can be, and the details that coach makes sure you guys, focus on.
I just think it is. I never really looked into it as much as until this year, but coming out and being successful in special teams as a team has really shown that special teams does win games. When good things happen on special teams and it just goes our way, it shows that really does win the game.
And Luke, for you, the scoop and score, I mean, that's a rarity.
Yeah, I think we practice it. We make everything perfect, and we just try to get to the best we can with all the special team. I mean, we make everything perfect, and we really take it serious in practice.
Coach Kappas, year 1 versus year 3, what's changed so much at Louisville? Year 1, you guys were 2-8, struggling, now 4-0, and everyone's talking about you guys going into this big week 5 game with Hoover. What's changed?
Yeah, well, 1-9 year 1, but appreciate the extra one there. I mean, just our culture, the willingness to win, the willingness to sacrifice and earn the love of your teammates. Obviously we have a lot more depth and talent than we did year 1. But the culture and the effort that these guys put in every single day to earn the trust, respect, belief, and love of their teammates, and the togetherness that we have. They believe in each other every single day, and it just goes to where you look at the second half of each game this year. Our guys, they understand the schemes. We haven't changed much in the last couple of years. We've started a lot of young players over the first 2 years. That those guys are, both these guys are, veteran, experienced players that they've made a lot of big plays as young players. Now as seniors, they have so much confidence. And, that trickles down to the young guys and how they, how these seniors treat the sophomores and the freshmen. That's just going to continue to build every single year. And it's just, it's a lot of fun to be around. And it's a lot of fun that, there was some, I would say pushback, but it was abrasive the first year in terms of just really trying to drive these guys to buy in. And then, now it just runs itself, and it's a player-driven program.
And John, I want to piggyback off that real quick because I want to get their reaction to it.
Yep.
When did you guys buy into Coach Kappas? What happened where you maybe at first there was a little pushback, but then all of a sudden it clicked? Where did you guys buy in? What did he do? What caused that?
I would say him bringing in the code blue. I mean, it says it right here on our board. It's being committed, relentlessness, and selfishness, toughness, and having integrity, and being loyal to your teammates. And he has all these things that we all are being taught, not to just be good players, but to be good men when we grow up.
Oh, and same type of thing. Your reaction, your thoughts when you bought in to Coach Cap's ideas and coaching.
Just how much he praises togetherness. It truly does show a difference. When you believe in your teammates and when you're going to have your back for more than 4 quarters, if it ever comes down to that point. Just knowing that you're going to go out there and you're going to fight for each other, and that everyone's going to have each other's back because we're all brothers and we all believe in each other.
Coach, I did want to ask, because I want to get this thought. You have such a tie to Mount Union. How much of what you learned and were a part of at Mount Union have you tried to instill into the Louisville football program?
Well, everything, and that's hard to do from scratch because when I played at Mount Union, that culture was already built. But that, like, when you look at Mount Union, you look at the success. It's the belief in the kids. It's their belief that they're going to win every single day. It's their preparation. It's year long, and it's been fun leaving Mount Union, going to Bowling Green, working for Coach Dave Clausen, who was one of the best program builders ever. Going to Austin P and coaching for Coach Scotty Walden, who's, again, a program builder, and then seeing how that works, building it from scratch, and then being able to kind of put our own stamp on it at the high school level, and taking these guys that are just so raw and, really just trying to preach the fundamental base things of just being a great person, working every day, increasing your standard every single day, holding yourself to a standard, and then holding your teammates to a high standard, and then really trying to earn that from each other every single day, which, as the head coach, and which our coaching staff does every single day, we're trying to earn that from those kids every day and show them, like, this is the example that you need to set, and this is the work that needs to put in. And, to never be satisfied with, okay, you got to win. Okay, how do we take it to the next level now? But Larry Harris is, everything that my coaching style is from Larry Karras. He's like a second father to me. And, and that's why that program is so successful at Mount Union. And that's, the values we're trying to instill here.
Yeah, well, you're doing a great job, Coach. So are the players, off to a perfect start at 4-0. Huge game this week against 4-0 Hoover. Can't wait to see how that one turns out. Best of luck, guys. And thanks for joining us on the Saturday Morning Huddle.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How about that, John? 4-0 Louisville. That equals their win total from last year. How about that? They've already matched their win total from a year ago. Louisville, a great victory for them last night, convincing victory over Marlington, 45-7. And now we'll see what they do against the Vikings.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. For years, Hoover, I beg your pardon, Louisville was such a proud tradition in the county, and they went on that little lean period there where they went through a number of coaching changes. They had Jeff Twitty for a year. I know Troy Davis did his best to try to uphold the standard in the time that he was there. But, they always say it takes a guy sometimes 3 years to really instill his program.
Yep.
And I think Coach Kappas has brilliantly done that in 3 years. He's taken a program that was at maybe its lowest that it's ever been and has taken it back to the top. And you know what? You look at the computer standings now, and they're already making their way towards the playoffs in a meat grinder of a region too. Yeah. That D2 region 7. And Kenny, what impresses me most about them, you can talk about the skill, you can talk about the special teams, their line play in Division 2 with Trevor Burek and Aiden Norris leading the way up front, a pair of D1 guys that are juniors. Plus, they're not the smallest guys in the world, but they've also got big dudes around them that are helping as well. That's going to be a tough out as Louisville goes on and they get more and more experience throughout the year.
All right, let's bring in our next guest, John. We did the game last night. It was our Freshmark Sugardale Radio Game of the Week as the McKinley Bulldogs hosted Glen Oak in a Federal League matchup. And I sent you a picture of Renzi. Maybe you can throw that up, John, while we talk to him. Renzi Parnell, the first-year head coach for the Bulldogs, joins us here on the Saturday Morning Huddle. Coach, thanks for getting up with us today. How you feeling after a big win last night, 38-0 over Glen Oak?
I'm feeling good. Talked to the kids this morning. We looked at the stuff we need to clean up. So it's always – we didn't feel we played the best, but, the good thing is you win 38-0 and we still feel like we got a lot of stuff to clean up. So that's a good feeling.
Special teams, huge for you last night. We just talked to Louisville about special teams. Darius Hill got you rolling early with that huge punt return, Coach. How much time are you spending on special teams with your squad?
Yeah, a lot throughout the week. It's been a point of focus for us throughout the week. I think we were able to show that. It really helped us with field possession as well. So it was a good thing.
Coach, you and I talked at halftime last night, and you weren't happy. You were up 24-0 and this is what I love about you, because I'm wired the same way. I may have 30 points in a basketball game, but the 2 shots I missed, that's what I'm thinking about. Your mindset with that last night. Where does that come from, I guess, and what was the message at halftime?
The message, we strive for perfection, right? And you're not going to get perfection. But I felt we were far off. We didn't execute on some things that we need to learn how to execute on. So, that's why the feeling was where it was. And to be honest with you, that's how I was raised. That's how I was raised, both as a kid and as a player. You know what I mean? So that's the way you play the game, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Perfection is what you strive for, and nothing else. You don't settle for anything else.
Coach, when it comes to the start to the season for the Pups and what's been working, getting off to a 3-1 start, you had the 1 week 2 lost. What's allowed them to grow in the first 4 weeks and play some of this really solid football now as you enter the Federal League?
Well, they're getting better every week. You know what I mean? They're learning how to practice. We're learning how to do different things. So experience is one thing that we're gaining along the way. It's one of those things where the game of football, you're never going to be as good as you want to be in the beginning, but you got to take steps forward each week to get to where you want to get. And I think that's what we're doing.
Kylan West has been a nice weapon for you out of the backfield, Coach. What makes him a good running back for your offense?
He has a natural ability, always has a natural ability. His cuts, if you watch him cut on a dime, it's phenomenal. But other than that, he's another experience guy. He's a sophomore, right? So he's going to get better and better. The best is yet to come with him.
And Trenton Hayden, your quarterback, we just saw the touchdown pass there to Darius Hill. How is he handling your offense?
Really good. His experience has played a role as well. Now, he started to force some things last night, so we'll talk about that and get that cleaned up. But overall, he's been really good for us.
Coach, it's been an interesting start to the year for you as well. You guys go to Warren week 2. You have St. Augustine, who's a tough opponent. Now you really enter the heart of the Federal League. What has to happen for the Bulldogs to take that next step?
I said this last night. We got to play 4 quarters. So we have yet this season to play 4 quarters of football. We've started slow and then pulled it on. We've started fast and then didn't finish. So, I'll say it again this week. We got to continue to strive for that, and we got to get to the point where we're playing 4 quarters of our type of football.
How happy are you, Coach, that you got a number of things out of the way? You got your first win out of the way, right? You got your first Federal League win out of the way. You got your first loss out of the way. We'll throw that in there as well. But all those are done now, and you can just focus on the rest of the season. How happy are you with all of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things where you go through all those different emotions, right? And you got to learn. We talk to the kids about learning from their experiences, well, coaching as well. So you learn from each experience, and it helps you get better. Sometimes a loss is the best thing that your team needs. You don't want to do that, but sometimes that's what they need. So I'm super happy, where we are. Obviously, we got a long way to go, but to go through all those type of things is a good thing.
John, I want to jump on one more, before I forget, John. You didn't have Darius Hill last week. He comes back this week and impacted the game, running it 2 times for 30 yards and a touchdown, catching it 9 times for over 100 and a touchdown, and 5 punt returns for 112 yards. The impact that he had last night, is this something you think we'll see for the rest of the season now that he's back healthy?
Yeah, absolutely. We expected that from him week 1. I mean, he's just that type of player. He's that type of impact player. It's something that all the coaches coming out of camp could see, like, okay, this kid is special. We'll use him in a lot of different ways, but yeah, absolutely, he'll impact the football field anytime he's on the field.
Coach, in 4 weeks, what have you learned most about your players?
I'll say this. It's a resilient group. They're tough, and they fight. You know what I mean? So that's what we ask of them. They're getting discipline, and a lot more discipline in a lot of different areas, which we love to see. But we just got to keep moving forward. I always talk to them about, hey, stacking days. So we got to continue to stack days, continue to get better, and where we end up will be a good place.
Renzi Parnell, thanks for joining us on the Saturday Morning Huddle. Congratulations on the 38-0 win over Glen Oak, and good luck next week on the road at Perry in another Federal League matchup.
I appreciate you guys. Go Pups.
Johnny's got that team moving in the right direction. They didn't play a perfect game last night. They had some penalties, some miscues, 2 or 3 interceptions on offense. but they were able to overcome those mistakes and still win 38-0. So that tells you that this is a pretty good football team.
Yeah, and really it's now back-to-back weeks too. Last week, Cleveland Heights, an impressive win there. And the Bulldogs, I was talking to Bob Jeffries, who did our TV Saturday game last week, Altman Health Systems Saturday game between McKinley and Heights, and he was saying that St. Augustine was the real deal. That week 2 game was not a fluke. It was not some sort of situation where they played some team that just came in and played better on a night. That team is a legit level of competition for them. So, yeah, McKinley's moving in the right direction. Perry's going to be tough, though, next week because I think the Panthers are hungry, especially after losing last night to our next guest.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what we call a segue, folks. So losing to our next guest, which, of course, was the Lake Blue Streaks in a battle for Federal League supremacy last night. It seemed like at least 2 3-0 teams entering week 4. Dan DeGeorge, Ty DeGeorge, Davis Matson, all 3 join us this morning. And Coach, congratulations, 4-0. This has to feel good this morning.
It does. Appreciate you guys having us. And we're excited where we're at, but also hungry to get better.
Coach, let's go back to when we did your game last week, and Ty's there with you this morning. And Ty, good to see you and hearing good things about maybe the recovery in that. But Dan, as a coach and as a dad, how tough was last week? Because I'm watching it as it's unfolding, and I can't imagine, right? You're the head coach. You got to, put the team above one single player, but that single player that went down with an injury is your son, and a serious injury. How tough was last week?
Yeah, it was pretty tough. I mean, been doing this for a long time and never had to deal with that. But, it was unfortunate. As a coach, you got to move on and the next guy has to step up. And we had some kids do that. And then the dad party is wondering how your kid's doing. He's a fighter. So we got through it and we're going to continue to do so.
And Ty, let me ask you, you're going through the pain of the injury itself, the physical pain, the mental pain of maybe your season being over. And we see you there last week and then last night. As you're getting taken to the hospital, what's going through your mind, and what would be the message you wanted to send to your dad last week as you were getting looked at?
Yeah, for sure. When I was in the car heading to the hospital, I actually think I had your guys' radio on, listening to the play, cheering on my teammates, and just hoping for the best. And God, we came out with the dub last week.
And Ty, did I hear right? We got some good news that it's a clean break, no surgery is needed.
Yes, clean break, no surgery, no cast, just wearing a boot, and it's going to heal on its own.
That's got to be making you feel good, Dad, right? Because when you're thinking about a broken ankle, you're thinking surgery, and that could really take a long time to rehab.
Sure. Yeah, it was the best news possible. 100% recovery is expected. We'll get through the next couple weeks, and we'll get him back rolling.
Coach, I think it's interesting. The 2 guys that you have next to you, they've spent almost as much time on the football field as they have in the hospital. You've got one kid that had an appendectomy. The other kid has a broken ankle. Is there something in the water this year that's a little different in Hartville that's preventing the health?
Sure. The big part of that is, we're 4-0 and in all 4 of those games, we haven't, these 2 guys have only played together, I think 4 plays the whole season. Missing Davis the first 2 weeks was tough, man. He's our running back. He's our tailback. He's a dude. We found a way to win without him. And in the past 2 weeks, we've done the same with Ty. So I think the moral is the kids are just stepping up, man. Our kids are fighters and they're playing for each other. And we got to keep doing that to have some success.
Well, and Davis, for you come in and you haven't carried a football in quite a while. And then the 2 weeks that you play, Coach DeGeorge is like, hey, we're just going to give you the rock almost every play.
Yeah.
After having your body cut open and coming out like that and performing, what's allowed you to perform like that, Davis?
Well, I think our offensive line really stepped up these past 2 games, and I was definitely out of shape that first week that I was back, but I got my second win that second half and was able to get going again.
Davis, I got to ask you, because we did the game last week, and I think I saw you on the sidelines losing your lunch at one point. Did I see
Yes.
that, or were you
Yes.
just sucking wind?
Yeah, you would be correct.
Were you at that point, or are you thinking, okay, this is a good thing, I get this out of me, and coach, I'm ready to go for however many times you need me in the second half? Or were you wondering how you were going to continue on, I guess?
No, I knew it was going to happen eventually, so I was just preparing for it, and I'm glad that I got it out of the way.
Coach, I want to actually go here to the huddle, to the highlights from your game last night, because we had a number of them, and we started with this Perry touchdown run by Connor Shepard. They take the lead on you guys. What allowed you guys then to come back, play the game that you did, and really kind of set the tone after that?
Yeah, that first quarter, they were getting after us, both sides of the ball in the box. They're a very good football team, very well coached, have some really good players. All week we tried to prep our kids that this was going to be our toughest opponent by far, and they were. Our kids just kept battling. We found a way to make a couple plays. We created some turnovers defensively. Coach Viscount, my defensive staff, had a great game plan. Getting a turnover right before half was huge. We really challenged the kids at halftime to let's put our foot on the gas. Let's start making plays. And we did that in all three phases. So I told the kids this morning, just really proud of how much they kept fighting. Our backs were against the wall in a lot of different ways. And they just stepped up and found a way to win. And that's the goal.
Yeah, you were trailing 7-6 at halftime, right, Coach? So the message
Yes.
that you sent to them at halftime, they obviously listened and came out and dominated the second half.
They did. I mean, the effort was there. We also made some really good adjustments. I think that benefited us on both sides of the ball. So I give credit to my coaching staff, man. You win with people, and I got great people on my staff, and they got the kids ready to be ready to go in the second half.
Coach, the throws and the running plays by Alex Quire. I know we've got Davis and Ty here with us, but just the level of leadership, the play that Alex has played with through 4 weeks. Speak to your quarterback, Coach.
Yeah, Alex has done a great job. First of all, he's coming back from a knee injury last year, which ended his season. So he busted his butt in the offseason to get back. He's throwing the ball well. He's making good decisions. He's getting a little bit better with that each week, and he's going to continue to grow and to be an even better quarterback. We also have some dudes we can throw the ball to, which is a luxury. I mean, most years for us, we might have one or two guys that might be able to take the ball the distance. We have a handful of guys this year. That's a nice luxury. Some more guys are coming open. Guys are faster. Alex really last night in the first half, they were getting to us. We weren't pass protecting very well. Could have easily went the other direction, and we just, he kept fighting and kept making plays. He pulled one on a switch read last night for a big touchdown, which we've been talking about the last couple weeks, and made a great decision there for a big play. So, yeah, he's doing a really nice job. And Davis mentioned the offensive line, that they're growing and coming as well. So it's definitely a group thing here, man. Guys stepping up and making plays.
Well, Kenny, I want to piggyback on that too, because if you look in the highlight, and I can't get directly to it, but Alex is running down like the seam of the field, and he turns to a Perry defender and he says something as he's walking into the end zone. I want to ask Davis and Ty, did he tell you at all what he said in that moment, or did he have a bone to pick with the defender at all?
Yeah, I'm going to jump in and take that question. So we just watched that on film, and I told Alex what a great night he had, and he better never do that again, because that's not how we play football. And he got the message. We don't need to do that. We'll hand the ball to the official, and Alex will just go celebrate with his teammates next time he scores, which he will.
Spoken like a true head coach who has control of his football team. Dan DeGeorge and the Lake Blue Streaks joining us this morning here. They're off to a perfect start at 4-0 as they beat Perry last night, 31-15. 5 turnovers created by your defense. Coach Viscount, you talk about him all the time, and deservedly so, right? 3 picks, 2 fumbles. I'm just curious, Dan, how nice is it to have a guy that you do not have to worry about each and every practice, each and every week in the game, and you can just let him run that defense?
Yeah, no. Again, I mentioned multiple times, man. Ron is as good as they come. Knows the game better than anyone I've ever been around. And he's just a blue streak, man. He just wants nothing more than for our program to be successful. And we just had the conversation the other night how many years he's been here and all the wins he's had such a big part of, man. And it's hard for him. He teaches a full schedule. Doesn't have last period off like he's used to having, which he used to be able to get over here early, which is tough, man. But everyone's, we're all hit with adversity, and he just keeps finding a way to be a great leader for us defensively. Just a great influence for all our kids as well, as all my coaches. They wouldn't be on my staff if they weren't great men. Like I said earlier, man, we have great people coaching our kids, and that's a luxury. But Ron is the top of that list for sure.
No doubt. And Ty, I want to get your thoughts on this, because as important as you were to the offense, I thought you were more important to the defense as the quarterback of that secondary. And that now that you're out for a while, and we'll get to that question a little later, how are you still helping maybe, your teammates with being kind of a coach on the sidelines?
Yeah, I always tell them if they got a question, they can always come up, ask me. And I'm always making sure, watching the play, seeing their mistakes, and always trying to help them become even better each day.
All right. With that in mind, I heard Coach mention it earlier, the rehab. Is there any possibility of you being back this season, or where have you guys left it at this point?
We really don't know how it's going to heal, but the main goal is to come back for playoffs. But if we're not back 100%, I don't know if we're going to push it.
And Coach and Dad, I mean, that's something, obviously, health first. He's got another season. He's a junior, luckily, right? But, knowing how determined he is and how hard he works, would it surprise you?
It would not surprise me. No, we might have to bring Mom in on this conversation as well, right? But we're not even going to cross that bridge till we get there. Ty's going to rehab. I actually went over to him a couple times last night during the game. This was nice, but just asked him to keep an eye on the secondary of Perry and what they were doing. I had a couple plays in my head that I was thinking, and I talked about a slant play. I said, hey, let me know if you think we got this as the game progresses. And he gave me the thumbs up. We talked about it a little bit. We ended up hitting Quinn Snyder on a big play on that. So he's helping elsewhere.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about that play, Coach, because that, Alex threw a great ball in the corner of the end zone to Quinn for a touchdown, but that slant pass, he hit him in stride, hit him running. That had to be his best throw of the night, probably, right?
Yeah, it was a good throw, and it was one of those ones, like I said, we were talking about it, and I mentioned it to Ty on the sidelines. I talked to Quinn about it. Perry kept bringing the backside linebacker. It was just making sure we called it at the right time to catch them in that. And our offense line executed well. Alex threw a heck of a ball. Davis had a great fake, and Quinn did the rest, man. So it got us in good scoring position.
Yeah, Davis, real quick, I want to give Davis some love. The fake, selling out the play, right, Coach? It's the intricate details that make things work like that, right?
No, absolutely, man. Everyone's got to do their job, and everyone has a job to do. We talk all the time about, every offensive play that we run, if we draw it up on the board, it's supposed to be a touchdown, right? Like if everyone does what they're supposed to do. So just getting the kids to realize that, and it's the little things like carrying out your fakes and running the right route, even when you're not getting the ball, to pull the safety out, to open it up for the other guy. And that's why it's the ultimate team game, man. You rally on each other. And if everyone keeps doing their job, you have obviously much greater chance of winning football games.
Davis, I want to ask you one last thought here, because now that Ty has kind of set the idea that hopefully for the playoffs, how much harder does that make you guys work now, knowing that you guys could get your brother back if you get to week 11 in the right spot?
Yeah, it really just makes us all want to grind, because we'd way rather play the rest of the season with him rather than what we have to go through now. So I think it'll definitely push me, and as well as the rest of the team, to really just grind and make it to the playoffs.
Well, you're off to a great start, guys. Impressive wins. By the way, #1 team in Ken's top 10 in Stark County. So congratulations on that. You'll look to go 5-0 next week on the road at Glen Oak. Dan, that's no easy. I know they got shut out last night, but they've got some playmakers.
No, absolutely. I told the kids this morning, man, you're in Federal League play. You throw the records out. Glen Oak obviously has some very good athletes. Coach Garcia is an excellent coach. He's been doing this for a long time. So if we drop our guard at all, man, we could get punched in the face. And the goal is to not let that happen. But we know it's going to be another big test for us.
Coach DeGeorge, don't let being number one in Ken's top 10 go to your head. I don't want to see you get too big ahead this week. Okay.
Ken, you can gladly move us down that list all you want, buddy.
All right. I'll keep that in mind, Coach. Probably not, but I'll keep it in mind. Hey, seriously, congrats on the great start, continued success. We'll see you guys down the road. Looking forward to it.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate what you guys do.
Rock 'em.
There you go. How about the Blue Streaks? I mean, as good of a football team as we've seen in Stark County, and that's with the injuries. 1-2 weeks, Davis Madsen out. Now Ty's out for the rest of the regular season at least, right? If not longer. And yet here they are still playing good football and undefeated through 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think what stood out to me from that interview too, Kenny, was that, we brought up that little moment where Alex kind of had that maybe lapse in judgment going into the end zone. And if you looked at Coach DeGeorge, he put his hand up and he signaled to both his guys and he said, "Hey, this is me. This is on me." That's the sign to me that program is functioning at the highest level. He has control of the guys on and off the field. He has them believing in his ideas. And what's even cooler is that he's able to go to his son and say, "Hey, I need you to be a secondary coach tonight. And I need you to tell me, can we run this play?" Right. And Ty, such a smart kid, such a great player. I really hope they get him back, Kenny, because I think with him, they're great without him. They're phenomenal with him.
Well, John, through the first 2 weeks, he combined running, throwing, returning, receiving for 10 touchdowns. And then 5 plays into the game, he breaks his ankle last week. And you saw how choked up Dan got when we were talking about it, because I can't even imagine dad coach. Dad always wins out, family first, but there's 2 families, right? There's the blood family and there's the football family. He still had to be there instead of going to the hospital, with his son. And you could see how emotional Dan was.
Well, and think about it like this too, Kenny. They've had 4 plays this year with their 2 best playmakers on the field. Ty and Davis haven't even gotten a chance to think about collaborating together. Right. You factor that in with choir and with the defense and with the fact that everything is functioning at a high level. We always wonder when it's going to be Lake's time to eventually, get to exactly where they want to go. And this year, despite losing Charlie Christopher last year, who was a dude, they've picked up the ball and to not use a bad metaphor or analogy, they've run with it and they've carried the tradition.
Yeah, and speaking of Charlie Christopher, we had his dad, Matt Christopher, on the Kenny and JT show yesterday. He's headed to Columbus. He's already there in an RV. He's going to watch his son, Charlie, number 30 for the Ohio Bobcats, play tonight against Matt's former team, the Ohio State Buckeyes. So 91 Stark County Player of the Year and the 2024 Stark County Player of the Year, father-son duo. And good luck to Charlie Christopher as Ohio University takes on the Buckeyes tonight, 7:00 on WHBC, by the way.
Speaking of County Players of the Year,
right.
It's another great segue because we bring in another County Player of the Year, and now he's a county coach. That's Jay Rohr, the head coach of the Jackson Polar Bears, who have, been through the ringer through 4 weeks as a team. Coach, I don't know how many gray hairs are on the head, but it's had to have gone up here in the first 4 weeks, hasn't it?
Well, first of all, it's a good thing I got my hair cut and shaved because you would see a lot of gray hairs. It's, and here's the thing, you look back and it's called karma, but last year, I preached and preached. We didn't have a single injury. We had a kid in Grady Montgomery that tore his ACL even before the Hoban scrimmage. And other than that, we didn't have a kid that missed a game or a practice for the entire season. And this year, it's to be very transparent, it's been the complete opposite. So very unfortunate, but we got a great group of kids, young or not young. They play hard. They're coachable. They want to get better. They don't want to disappoint us. And I'm extremely proud of them and what we've been able to do so far up to date.
For our viewers today, Coach, share with them, though, what you've been through. We talked with Dan about Davis out, appendectomy. He's back, but then Ty goes out maybe for the rest of the season. So they're fit. But give our viewers out there an idea of what why you have so many gray hairs these days.
Yeah, it starts with our quarterback, right? We're in a Thursday practice, and again, with Lucas Eckerman, he's a 4-year starter. We don't hit our quarterbacks to begin with, and even on a Thursday going into week one, he just happens to be doing a half rollout, and uh, nobody really knew what happened, but down he went, and we didn't know the outcome of that. He's missed the first 2 weeks of the season. After that, we go into week two. Carter Mulliman steps into week one, has a tremendous week as our backup quarterback, and he gets hit on the last series that he's in on offense, and tweaks his ankle, and so he's out. Um, you know, uh, tries to play through it a little bit. The very first series against Austin Fitch in week two, and we had to pull him. So we go to our third string, which is a sophomore quarterback. Um, During that course, we lost our starting linebacker week one. We lose our backup in week two, and then Chase Maurer, our starting running back, who had a tremendous week one. Is having a great game. In the first quarter, he's got 70 yards rushing on 5 carries, and he breaks his collarbone. So, and he's out for the year. So we've had a string of injuries. A resilient group. We're blessed to be 2-2, but we certainly have been through the ringer in regards to injuries.
Coach, ultimately, as a head coach, an educator, it's about teaching lessons for kids. What lesson have you been able to teach this year through 4 weeks?
I think as a young group, I think you lose the message whether you're on a scout team, or you're working to get a starting spot, and just the concept of hard work, being coachable, being disciplined, doing what you've been coached to do, and obviously, and it ends with the next man up mentality. And I think that's the biggest thing, that our kids have started to really understand, that you're one play away from playing, and we certainly again have experienced that this year, and that's the blessing. Each week, our kids are constantly working to get better on a starts with day by day, week by week, game by game, and again, I can't be more proud of the guys that have stepped into the roles that we're asking to step up into. And a prime example is, we have sophomore linebacker playing that, again, you don't typically play in the Federal League as a sophomore. It's hard to do. Corey Jacobs, who's been, had a phenomenal week one, made a complete transition to go to our tailback position. So he's had to learn every running play, every blocking scheme in order to pass pro. So we've had to have guys completely do a 360 in regards to positions, and they've been very unselfish. And again, as a coaching staff, we're extremely proud of those guys to do it.
33-6, the final last night. Jackson gets the win over Mayfield. Coach, defensively, I want to start there because you had given up some points. Injuries may have played a part in that, but you respond last night holding Mayfield to just 6 points. What was the key defensively last night?
Yeah, and you guys know, I overheard a little bit with what you guys, talking with Coach DeGeorge. They're off to a great start, but the one thing that I did hear him say is just taking responsibility. I've certainly taken responsibility when you look at the 2 games that we've given up a lot of points. Injuries or not, when all these injuries start to occur, you start to wonder whether you got to continue to practice physical and tackle in practice, or do you kind of lay back and try to save guys and make sure that they're capable and willing and able to play the following week. And I went against everything that I stand for, in regards to, being aggressive and being physical and still tackling in practice. And I promised myself I'll never do it again. And I think that's the one thing that our kids took from it. We had a great week of practice. We were physical. We were tackling in practice. And I think it showed on Friday night. So again, they just responded in the right way, and great to have them doing that.
Coach, you obviously don't want to say that anything that involves an injury is ever a blessing, but was it almost a fortuitous time for it to happen, with the fact that you weren't in the Federal League yet, and now you're entering the Federal League, and these guys have at least gotten a taste of football, so they're ready for this tough Federal League race that they're about to be in?
Absolutely. And that's, again, going back to the depth with the guys stepping up and playing the roles. I think that's the one thing that we're starting to get some guys healthy again. Unfortunately, for the loss of Chase, that's a significant loss for us. I can't underestimate that. I mean, He's a tremendous player and a two-way guy for us. But the 3 games that we played are 3 tremendous opponents. Chardon's off. They're a 3-1 team. I think Austintown Fitch is going to have a great season, and even the team that we brought in from New York, they have tremendous size and tremendous skill, and I think they're going to have a great season. So when I look at it, we're battle tested to some extent. Our guys have played in some tough games, some physical games, and the injuries. You're right. I mean, they happened. You don't wish that upon anyone, but if they're going to happen, hopefully you're getting them back for league play, and that's kind of what exactly is transpiring here. That we're getting healthy, hopefully at the right time, to again kind of try to repeat what we did a year ago, and that's going and give ourselves an opportunity to win the Fed.
Coach Lucas Eckerman back. Maybe not 100%, but he's playing for you. It seems like Max Cowles is one of his favorite, receivers, favorite targets dating back to last year. What I'm seeing, from the stats and everything this year. What is it about that combination that makes them a nice 1-2 punch?
Again, since I've been here, I've been blessed. I'm very involved in our youth program, and that's a tandem that I've been watching since 8th grade all the way up through. Those two just have a chemistry together. They've been playing together for a long time now. And you can see it. They work a lot in the off season. They work on timing. They work on their routes, and all those things. And so I just think the trust itself, is there. But Lucas he's back. He's probably as good to healthy as what we're going to get him right now, and he's excited. You could see a little bit of last night. Again, Green's going to have the film as it is, but Lucas even kind of approached Coach Bardwell in regards to know the importance of him having the opportunity to run the ball too, and what that does for our offense. And he kind of demanded that he's good and wants that to be a part of the game to run the football, to be a dual threat. And the tandem between those two guys, Lucas being able to run, I think is a significant thing for us and our offense and our team in general.
Coach, 4 weeks into the season, and we are happy that kids are starting to turn the corner. Things are starting to maybe look a little bit up. And, hey, don't let the hairs get too gray during the Federal League race. We know it's going to be tough for you guys.
No, absolutely. Again, going to what even Coach George says, this league is tough as it is. Every coach does a tremendous job, and their assistant coaches, everyone puts in a lot of time, a lot of effort, and we all have great kids. And just like I said about our team, nobody wants to disappoint themselves, their teammates, or their coaches. So we know the grind and the battle that it's going to be. But as I said at the beginning, our kids are looking forward to it. We're getting healthy at the right time, and let's go see what we're made of going into this league play.
Yeah, good luck this week against Green, Coach. Thanks for getting up with us on the Saturday morning huddle. Look forward to chatting with you again throughout the year.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for all that you guys do. Greatly appreciate you guys.
Jay Rohr, outstanding head football coach at Jackson. You brought up a good point, John. Injuries suck, right? But if you can get those guys back healthy, having those injuries at the beginning of the season, that's when you want to get them, if you're going to get them, and before league play. And here we go. I'm looking at their schedule right now. Green, Perry, Lake, Glen Oak, McKinley, Hoover. That's the meat grinder right there to close out the regular season. But at least those guys that missed some games that they might get back, or all of them are coming back, they'll be ready for all the Federal League games.
It's a gauntlet. You enter into the Federal League, and it is just an absolute gauntlet. It never gets easier. It never gets to the point to where you have a cakewalk of a point of it. Green is 1-3, but they could easily be 2-2. And we're going to hear about that in a minute here when Coach Baum and Hoover and Jack Andes join us. But, it's that type of situation there. Perry is looking at last night and saying, hey, we got punched in the mouth by Lake. McKinley, they beat Glen Oak last night. And you said it about Glen Oak. They're 1-3, but everyone knows Scotty at any point could get that thing turned around and get those kids playing. We saw it 2 years ago. They were down in the depths, and then 1 week everything clicked, and they made the playoffs and won a playoff game. So
they beat McKinley that year 7-3, and that helped them. So they did not play well last night, but part of that was due to Darius Hill of the McKinley Bulldogs, John. And I think it's a perfect time for our Community One Credit Union Player of the Week. And there he is right there, junior wide receiver. He played some quarterback, punt returner. Darius Hill, he did not play the previous week with a concussion. They get him back, and all Darius Hill did last night was rush it 2 times for 30 yards and a touchdown. And how about this 59-yard punt return that we're going to see right here? This really changed the momentum early in this game for McKinley. It's 0-0 at this point, and he takes it almost all the way. He gets tackled right at the 1-yard line, but that set up McKinley's first touchdown. And Darius returned 5 punts for 112 yards. He caught the ball 9 times for 104 yards and a touchdown. So when you put all of his numbers together, John, almost 250 yards of total offense, 2 touchdowns, and he was indeed the playmaker, the game breaker last night for the McKinley Bulldogs. And so he is our Community One Credit Union Player of the Week. And when it comes to money, Community One Credit Union is always on your team. They've got the plays that make life easier, from loans to checking, online banking, and mobile services to youth accounts and everything in between. Community One Credit Union, where community comes first. Membership open to everyone in Stark County. And congratulations to Darius Hill for being our Community One Credit Union Player of the Week for his performance in the Glen Oak win.
Joins Owen McCroskey, Gabe Stouffer, and of course from week 1, Connor Shepard, who was also a Player of the Week. Want to also take this time, thank 2 of our other sponsors, Ty Colucci from DeHoff Realtors. Ty and the great folks at DeLucci or at DeHoff Realtor, Ty Colucci. Great folks, whether you're buying or selling a home. Ty is always there to help you guys. You can find more about him at dhoff.com, T Colucci at dhoff.com. If you want to send him an email and get your process started, he is very welcoming and looking forward to getting your emails, getting your potential discussion going about your real estate issues, fun times moving forward, whatever it may be. If you have questions about the market, he'll be there to help. As for Dirty Hands Excavating and Restoration, we talk to Brandon Carl all the time, and he always says that they are getting their hands dirty for a brighter future. And last night, his son, Cam Carl, continued to get his hands dirty as Fairless was a winner over Tusky Valley last night. But we could not do this without both of them.
Let me give his numbers, Cam Carl's numbers from last night. How about this? 8 catches, 132 yards, and 2 touchdowns in Fairless's 49-7 win over Tusky Valley. So Mikey Ritterbeck threw 3 touchdowns and had a touchdown run, and 2 of those touchdown passes went to Cam Carl. The other one went to Zach Gilkerson. So congratulations to Fairless on the win, and to Cam Carl having a huge game last night for the Falcons.
Yeah, literally getting his hands dirty on his way to victory. So I'm sure Brandon very happy with him. And, of course, we are happy with A.J. Sarbon. Proud of him for getting the Falcons off to I want to hear it, Kenny. Hit me with it. Falcons. There it is. All right. It's the only time we'll do that. So we move to our next guest here on the Saturday morning huddle. And you know what? As we're going into this guest, Kenny, I want to show this.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, what we're going to do, we're going to welcome in Coach Baum from North Canton Hoover. Coach, congrats, 4-0. Thanks for stopping by the huddle. And I want to get right to the meat of this discussion here right now. I want you as a coach to tell me, as we're going to show this on the screen, break down this play for me from a standpoint of the end of the game as you guys defeat Green at the end, holding them at the 4-yard line. Break down this play on film for us that won the game.
Yeah. Hunk of their quarterback, very mobile kid, very elusive all night. We're getting pressure there. We knew he was going to break a contain, had a feeling he was going to run it. And, he gets out there, and a couple plays before he broke the tackle and was able to get in there. We were able to secure the tackle and not let him get in. So it's a good job for Carter Lucas to get to the point of attack, and then Kavanaugh and Nidowski to finish him off there and hold him just shy. But that was a big play because, like I said, they were making a great comeback. It was we got to a fast start all night, And then, they slowly came back, and there at the end, they got the onside kick and drove down the field there. And, right there and there, our boys secured the victory. It was good effort there. But, I tip my hat to Coach Geis and, obviously Hunka there. He was active all night. I mean, he ran for like 186 yards on broken plays and threw for about 186 to 200. So it was impressive.
A good win for you, Coach. Great way to win it, right? Walk-off fashion on the road. Everybody's celebrating. And like you said, you jump out to a big lead there. What was clicking early that gave you that big lead?
Offensively, we're doing well. Both offense and defense. We kind of thought they were going to run a two-back set at us, and they did. We were going to get that stopped, and we got them out. We put them to the 5 wide, and that's where they made their plays there. We had practiced against that as well, but we lost a defensive player in the third quarter, Chase Lukens, and when that happened, they started really getting some things. He's a sideline kind of kid.
How serious is the injury, Coach?
No, they had him step out. So.
Oh, okay.
Coach, when it comes to getting off to a 4-0 start, what's allowed you guys to reach this kind of early peak in the season? You hope you don't peak completely right now, but what's allowed you to reach this high level of play 4 weeks in?
Our boys are working hard. And I last night was a great opportunity to learn. We got 4 quarters. Honestly, we played 4 quarters of football finally. Close game. There's some things. There's so many coachable moments from last night that we can still improve and gel so much more. That's the good thing for us. Is our ceiling's much higher. I'm really excited for that. But so far, we've done some good things offensively with John Collins, Andy's. He's getting the ball to John's getting the ball to 5 or 6 different guys offensively. We're being very balanced there. John's making good decisions. And defensively, we've written after the football, and we're not huge defensively, but we are aggressive, and our kids they tackle well generally.
You mentioned John Collins, 3 touchdown passes last night, 2 to Andy's, 1 to Bayer, but he's also that running threat. Where has he improved his game the most from last year when he had to take over as an injury happened to your quarterback to being the starter this year?
He had an off season. Our quarterback's coach and OC. And those guys got with him, and this is the expectations. It's a big difference between prepping as a receiver and backup quarterback as the man, as the quarterback. And, he really embraced his role. A lot of meetings over that. This is what we want to do. This is our vision. And he shares the vision with those guys. And, it's real exciting to see him develop as much as he has. And he is a real athlete. I mean, real big-time athlete, all-how track. The kid can run. He can throw. So, getting him to know exactly what to do is very exciting for us.
Coach, you've obviously already had 4 big games. Anytime you play on a Friday, it's a big game. This week, though, 4-0 against 4-0. You're going to Louisville for what will be the biggest game, one of the biggest games in Stark County this coming week. Break down the idea of having that crowd and what that's going to be like for your guys.
I'll be honest, you can throw the records out. I know it's 4-0. That's great. But it's Louisville. We know it's going to be their best effort. We're going to go over there and play. We're going to Louisville. We enjoy playing over there. Our kids are pumped up for it. But it's a rivalry game for us. So, I don't even know if our kids will look at 4-0. They're just going to look at this is Louisville. We got to go out. We got to play our best football.
Coach, do you like having that game at this time of the season? Breaking up, I guess, the Federal League season after your first Federal League game, or you don't care when you play, Louisville, you'll play them whenever?
No, that's the mindset. We're going to play Louisville wherever we can, and it's a great opportunity to play them, especially like you mentioned the 4-0 stuff. I'm real excited for that, and we get them coming in there, and we're going to the 4-0s we talked about, but playing them week 5, you talk about a breakup. We treat it as a Federal League game.
Okay.
It's such a rivalry. We're going to treat it as a Federal League game. We're going to do what we have to do to make sure that we're ready to play.
And who do you have with you, Coach?
Jack Andes.
Jack, thanks for joining us on the Saturday Morning Huddle. 3 touchdowns last night, 2 receiving, 1 rushing. Did you know you were going to be a big part of the offense going into this game?
Yeah, I believed I was going to be. I knew we got to get the ball a lot, so it's a key factor. So we got to score and keep pushing, get points on the board. So.
Jack, the play of your quarterback that's with you and John Collins, that relationship between you and him, what's allowed that to grow and foster into such a dynamic one as the season has started here?
Yeah, we've grown up together since we've been playing since like 6th grade. So, our bond and chemistry is it gets better each year. And now that we're seniors and we've got experience, we're leading the team and we're connecting good.
So, Jack, what are you thinking? It's the ball at the 14-yard line. It's the final play of the game. You've led all game long. What's going through your mind as you're watching that final play of the game happen last night?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little nervous, but I believed in my team. I knew our defense could do it. So, I mean, I had no doubt that we were going to get the stop and win the game.
Yeah, my biggest fear was that extra point was going to come back to haunt us. I was like, this is not how we need to go out tonight. So that was my biggest fear.
Coach, for it to come down to the defense, I know you're such a big guy on your defense and how they play on that side of the ball. What does that say about them that right at the end, the ball is literally in their court and they've got to make that stop and they make the play at the end? What does that say about your defense?
The resiliency, the bend don't break mentality that you have to have on defense is so important. And like I said, they had momentum. They had some things going their way. A couple plays there at the end, kind of put them back a little bit there. But our guys stepped up and made the play when they needed to. And like I said, a defense been flying out there. Our Will linebacker coming over and Kavanaugh, and like I said, Carter made the initial hit, but he got by him, and those two finishing off like that. That was good team football.
Guys, thanks for getting up with us on the Saturday morning huddle. Congratulations, 4-0. You can't get any better than that, right? 4-0 is 4-0. The good thing about 4-0 is you get a chance to go to 5-0, and you have that chance against Louisville. Should be a great game. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How about that, John? Defense, right? Defensive stand, walk-off winner, getting that stop on Hunka, the quarterback, to secure their fourth straight victory.
Yeah, really impressive start to the year for Hoover and Coach Baum. They've really just put together a nice 4-week span. And as he said, hey, they will take Louisville anywhere, anytime, any place. I'm sure that they could play that game on the parking lot next to Hoover High School. And Coach Baum's guys wouldn't be mad getting a couple scrapes on their knees to take on the Leps. That's how big a rivalry that is. All right, we've got one more guest. One more team that's going to join us on the Saturday morning huddle. We have yet to speak to them this year, but hey, it's always great anytime we take the trip out to Tiger Town and have the Maslin Tigers join us. Coach Nate Moore, a pair of players. Coach, thanks so much for stopping by the huddle and being part of the show this morning.
It's great to be here, guys. Thanks for having us on.
Coach, congratulations on the win last night, 35-0 over LJ Bennett out of New York, coming off a loss the previous week. What was practice like this week going into that game, and what did you guys do in the game to excel and get the big victory?
We had a good week of practice, maybe our best Thursday of the year. So we felt good going into the game, and this game it's about effort and execution. And the guys went out and played hard and executed very well for the most part, and those things lead to victories.
Who do you have with you there today, Coach?
We have Eli Moore, number 8, senior captain for us, and Braylon Gamble, also number 5, junior captain.
Eli, I want to ask you, obviously being son of the coach and everything, you get to go home every day and talk with Dad about football. The start to the season for you guys, the toughness of things. What's it been like to be so close to your dad being a captain this year, 4 weeks into the season?
I mean, it's just great because, it's always someone to lean on, ask for questions, just different ways to lead the team, put us in the best possible situation to win a football game.
And Nate, for you, we had Dan DeGeorge on earlier, talking about that father-son combination relationship and what that's like for you with, him stepping in last night, throwing a touchdown pass and that. What's it like for you having your son now playing for you and a key member of the team?
I mean, the best part of it is watching growth, is watching, what they were 3 years ago and last year, and then this season, the growth he's made throughout, all the hard work in the off seasons and also during the season, and watch him progress over the course of this season in all of his roles on the team, whether that's quarterback or special teams and being a captain. and really pushing himself out of his comfort zones as a leader has been a lot of fun to watch.
Coach, 4 weeks into the season, and schedule is always tough for the Tigers. What have you learned most about your team through 4 weeks in this stretch as you head to week 5?
We have a very good football team. We have great kids that care a lot about it and aren't afraid of hard work. Aren't afraid to look failure in the face and get right back up and get back to work. And failure is where growth is. So we don't shy away from that. We're not afraid of those things. And the truth is that there's a lot of people out there that only look at wins and losses. We're not those types of people. You win and loss all the time, whether that's in life or in a football game or in practice or at school. And it's not about if, it's about when and how you respond. And we got a strong group of Tigers that put a lot of work into it, that practice really hard, and that are developing very well over the course of the season. And we're excited to get back out there this week against another great opponent.
For both the players, I'm curious, there's a saying, it's wins and lessons, not wins and losses. And the lessons are more important than the wins. So for both of you players, what lessons have you learned so far this year about yourself and your team?
So, the losses are tough, but we learned that there is 3 aspects to the game, offense, defense, and special teams. And we've really been trying to emphasize on special teams because we feel like that's hurt us at certain crucial moments. So really been emphasizing on special teams.
And for you, Eli?
Yeah, to piggyback off what BG said, really just, giving 100% effort every time, trying to make that play. I know you've probably seen that special teams play last night, diving in the end zone, batting the ball back in there. I mean, that's what it's all about, man.
Coach, how happy does that make you to hear your guys discussing the importance of special teams? It feels like the weak stepsister of the 3 phases of the game, but they care about it. That has to bring joy to you, doesn't it?
But yeah, I mean, they better care. Right? That's an extremely important part of the game. And one of the things that you learn when you play really good opponents is that the margin for error gets much smaller, right? And so little things become big things really, really fast. And when you are riding high and feeling really good about yourself, you tend to think really highly of the things that you are doing well and really minimize the things that you're not doing well, but we're still winning. So maybe it's not so bad. And, when you play good teams, you figure out real fast that small things can become big things. Special teams is one of those things that, gets overlooked sometimes. And all the different specialist skill sets and the effort and the proper execution, all those things get exposed. And, so we're thankful for the good teams that we've had. And we've been able to expose some things that we need to do better. And, we've made an effort to do that over the first 4 weeks of the season and aim to continue that progress.
Coach, you played 3 quarterbacks this year. I'm guessing some of it has to do with injury. How is Manny Patterson? And your guys stepped in. Both Eli and Rasmus Haynes stepped in yesterday, played well. But what's the latest on Manny?
Yeah, so we're really proud of all of our quarterbacks. It's actually 4. If you count the running back, Xavier Owens is taking quite a bit of snaps at quarterback, and real proud of all those guys. Have all stepped into their role there and done everything they can to execute to their highest ability, and they've all been really critical of themselves also. So, whoever's back there, quarterback for the Tigers, is doing a good job for us.
And guys, both of you, John, I want to jump in off of that with the quarterback play, but also the tough schedule. It gets even tougher this week, right? You're playing St. Ed's at home. We'll have that as our Freshmark Sugardale radio game of the week. Can't wait to see it. For both players, how have these first 4 weeks 2-2, 2 wins, 2 losses, but playing a grueling schedule. How has that prepared you for this game in Week 5 against St. Ed's, guys?
We know St. Ed is a great opponent, but we feel like we're battle tested now. We got that out the way. We've been through some hard times together, and we really fought through adversity. So we're really about to make a statement game this week.
I mean, if you want to be able to beat, good teams, you got to play good teams. So, starting the year off with, 2 great teams in Glenville and Raymond Gap, I mean, great test, exposed to some of the things that we need to get done, and we're going to get those down. We're going to come in on Friday, Paul Brown Tiger Stadium, we're going to execute.
Coach, how about your son basically quoting Ric Flair there? In order to be the man, you got to beat the man. Woo, right? I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got maybe some Ric Flair type tendencies at times, so that was good.
He's got the hair, that's for sure, from back when.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's definitely got the hair for sure. Braylon, I want to ask you. I know a lot of people know your dad was a ball player back in the day at Massillon. Great one. How much have you been able to lean on him to teach you lessons about the game and teach you how to become the player that you are now?
He's really one of my biggest mentors. Even though he's not a coach, he's got our film, telling me he's really critical of me. He told me always since I was little, I got to be critical of myself and always try to find ways to improve. So he's really critical on me on the things I need to improve on. I'm just keep working.
Kenny, there's been a lot of great Massillon plays over the years. I think Braylon's dad, Brian, might have had one of the greatest plays I've ever seen. It was a 3rd and 30 in 2005 against St. Ed's in a state semifinal. It's a play that if you talk to anyone in Massillon, they'll tell you 3rd and 30 is a key moment. And Braylon, I mean, I'm sure you've seen that play. You've grown up, hearing people talk about that. What does it mean to carry on the legacy of your dad's name to being his son as a Tiger?
It's very important. Ever since I was little, I always wanted to play for Coach Moore, and I just got a blessed opportunity right in front of me. So I try to take that and use it to my advantage every day that I get to play for the Massillon Tigers and play for Coach Moore.
Nate, you played St. Ed's 4 or 5 years in a row. It's always the game of the year, it seems like, in the regular season. What's going to be the key this week if you guys are going to get the victory over a very good St. Ed's team?
I mean, first we have to have a great week of preparation. So we're looking forward to that, and the coaching staff's going to be hard at work this weekend, as will the players. But we're looking forward to the challenges. We're looking forward to the week of practice and getting better and taking on another great challenge and putting out the very best Massillon Tiger team that we can be and playing with the best effort that we can play with. And we're just looking forward to playing the game. Be a great atmosphere.
Oh, yeah, sure will. Always is at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium, though, Coach. That's the one thing. And, you joked about 9 home games. I understand why you want to play home games there. Why wouldn't you with, that atmosphere? It is Friday Night Lights at its finest, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's been kind of a running joke, the Massillon home games. But, if you check out the schedules of other teams around the state, I don't know, Northeast Ohio, even, maybe around Stark County, there's a couple teams that have more than 5 home games. So maybe it's not such a bad idea after all.
I agree 100%. Right, John?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it makes sense. You want to play all those home games, as many as you can. Eli, I want to ask you one last thought here. You guys go home every day, you and your dad, and you obviously spend a lot of time on the football field. How do you find time away from football between the two of you, or do you keep the discussion going when you get home? Is it football all the time, or are there other things that you guys are able to talk about that don't involve the orange and black?
I mean, we do live in Massillon, so there isn't a lot much to talk about other than football. But other than that, we go fishing sometimes, just try to get out the house, stuff like that. But no, yeah, a lot of football.
Man, I like that. I want to Nate Moore. I want to see. Can you bring the fishing rod next time that you're here on the Huddle with us? I want to see what's the biggest catch you've had.
I'm not a terrible fisherman, but this guy right here has become quite the fisherman, and really proud of him. And in a lot of ways, and you know, his total development, not just as a football player, but you know, whatever he figures out he wants to pursue in life. I maybe being a professional bass fisher would be in the cards too if he really put his mind to it.
I can see it.
Very good. Hey, guys, thanks for getting up on the Saturday morning huddle with us. We really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium this Friday night for that tilt. Two heavyweights getting after it, right? St. Ed's and Massillon will be a great game for all of us to bring to everybody.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See you.
Massillon Tigers back to 500 at 2-2 after that win last night over LJ Bennett out of New York, 35-0, John. So should be a great game, and we're looking forward to bringing it to everybody at WHBC and Mix 94.1.
Yeah, it's going to be a big game. Those two have really developed a rivalry over the years, and it was kind of fun to be able to harken back to 05, where that rivalry kind of really started in that state semifinal. As I said, Braylon's dad made the play of a lifetime in that game, and I was there as like a 10-year-old or something, and I remember seeing it, and it was just an incredible play. So that'll be a great game next Friday. Anytime anybody comes into Tiger Stadium, it's great. You know, it seems like every year they have a couple of games there that it's like the whole state has their eye on. Week 1 with Glenville was one of them. That turned out to be a celebration. And this week 5 game will as well. And Kenny, I can't say week 5, we have some demanding games coming up this week. The games that we were talking about, Louisville and Hoover, 4-0, 4-0.
Right.
Massillon goes up against St. Ed's, a huge game there. East Canton, we didn't talk enough about them. They're 4-0 for the first time in who knows how long. We need to look that up. I'm sure you've got it.
Hey, John, check this out. 4-0 East Canton. They beat St. Thomas 37-0. Owen McCroskey, 16 of 20, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. Aiden Stevens, 10 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown. Dylan Anderson, the running back, 9 carries, 54 yards, and a touchdown. Braylon Torrance, a 58-yard punt return for a touchdown. There's your special teams. And their defense held St. Thomas to minus 72 total yards yesterday.
It's incredible. And they go down to Ridgewood now this week. That'll be a tough test down by Coshocton and West Lafayette. I believe that's known down there.
Right. And what about Minerva winning 3 games in a row? And I'm looking, and they've got St. Thomas, who they'll probably beat next week as well. Minerva beat Sandy Valley yesterday, 47-12. Nate Linkus, 3 touchdowns, 12 carries, 210 yards, 2 on the ground, 3 total touchdowns. You had a 74-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. One of those runs was 89 yards. They've won 3 in a row and are 3-1 and looking to go to 4 in a row and 4-1 next week. So kudos to Zach Slates and the job he's doing with Minerva so far.
Yeah, it's funny. They had gone all those years without winning games and without finding easy wins, and winning, I think coaches would tell you it's truly contagious. You get that feeling once and then you want to do it over and over and over again. And I think you made the best point that I've heard about Minerva all year earlier in the season, Kenny. You said the wing tee, it's something teams have not seen out of them. And if you haven't seen it out of them, how many teams have we seen get to the final week of the season and they get there and the discussion going into the game and the state title is, well, they got here because their offense, they run the wing tee and no one can stop them. And look at what Minerva is doing. 4 weeks in, they're putting up the best rushing numbers in the county, and they're only going to get better.
Yeah, they are, and I'm excited to see how it translates for a 10-game stretch there in Minerva. How about Alliance after getting beat by Louisville, right? They've bounced back with back-to-back wins. Tim Goodman has to be thrilled with that. Jackson at quarterback doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, playing defensive back. He's been outstanding. Marlington, even though they lost yesterday, right? They're 2-2, having a decent season for Joe Cardinal. Marlington's going with a freshman quarterback in Tyler Walder. He had a 36-yard touchdown pass in that loss yesterday. So, a lot of the teams, when we look at it, there are teams, there are a certain number of teams that are at the top of the list, right? But then there's a group in the middle that each week, they could come away with a big victory.
Well, and I think it's interesting that you bring up Marlington last night. We were really impressed with Tyler Walder on that touchdown drive, hooked up with Cole Jones. As you said, it was a great pass, great play. what was the most impressive thing from that game last night, Kenny, is that Cam Evanich had accounted for 8 touchdowns entering that game last night from Arlington, and the Louisville defense held him to 2 catches for 1 yard and no rushing yards.
You should ask Coach about that. Boy, I didn't know those stats. That's impressive right there.
And it completely slipped my mind this morning as we were thinking about all the great plays that Louisville made because they took him out of the game so much. I was joking last night on my wrap up for Brian on the Hammersmith show. I said, Coach Cap took a play out of Bill Belichick's book. Yep. You point to the best thing on the other team and you say, we're going to take that guy away and he's not going to do anything against us. And that's exactly what they did last night. So the impressive thing about them, Kenny, they're 4 weeks into the season. They've given up 23 points on defense, 23.
And they're only going to get better, too. That's what's impressive about that. All right, John, let me run down the scores one more time. Throw up some highlights if you want for everybody. I'll start with Perry Lake and Hoover Green so you can get those highlights ready to go. Lake, a winner yesterday, and so was Hoover. Hoover gets the walk-off win on this play right here, a goal line stand, ball at the 14-yard line. Final play of the game. They get the stop. Hoover beats Green 27-21 to improve to 4-0. Lake is also 4-0 as they beat Perry 31-15. They were behind 7-6 at halftime on that touchdown run by Connor Shepard, but it was all Lake after that as Alex Quire, 10 of 18, 124 yards, a touchdown. He threw 1 interception, but also carried it 7 times for 28 yards and 2 scores. So Lake is now 4-0. And how about Northwest? They get a huge walk-off win yesterday as they get this field goal from Ben Shantz, 37 yards out as time expires. Northwest beats Triway 32-29. Some of the other scores, McKinley shut out Glen Oak 38-0. And congratulations to Darius Hill. He is our Community One Player of the Week. He had over 240 yards of total offense and 2 touchdowns, almost 3 as he comes up a yard short on this 59-yard punt return. But a good win for McKinley. They're now 3-1. Glen Oak 1-3. Other scores from around the area. We just heard from Massillon head coach Nate Moore. They beat LJ Bennett out of New York 35-0. They're now 2-2. Louisville 45-7 over Marlington. John had that game. Louisville 4-0. Marlington 2-2. Alliance improves to 3-1 as they beat Ellett 26-0. We mentioned Minerva 47-12 over Sandy Valley. The Lions 3-1. Northwest with that win improved to 2-1, and they are getting ready for a tough Pac-7 schedule. Braden Venables threw 2 touchdown passes yesterday for them. East Canton beat St. Thomas 37-0. They're 4-0. Fairless 49-7 over Tusky Valley. Unfortunately, Canton South loses to Manchester 35-17. Orville beats Tuslaw 38-7, and Salem beats Central 49-20.
Quite a week. 4 weeks into the year, and we've got some big week 5 matchups ahead of us, Kenny. It's going to be fun. We'll be somewhere next week in Starr County, all 3 of our games. We know our Freshmark Sugardale game next week features the likes of a big matchup between Massillon and St. Ed's at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. And then I believe we know that our YouTube game next week, I have to be 100% sure, but I think they have Northwest next week. Okay. And I think Northwest next week is going up against Canton South. So South will go to Northwest. And then our stream game, we are
right?
Yeah, we are to be announced on that. We always put at the top of our schedules, subject to change. We are just like NBC, ABC, and CBS. We have the same ability to flex games when we want to, and we got the call into the corporate heads this week, Pam Cook, and we saw if we could get something done about our stream game this coming week.
Hey, John, if you can throw the logos up as we thank all of our sponsors like AkronAutoAuction.com, Chad Bailey and his staff. They're a big part of the Kenny and JT show, been around for over 50 years. AkronAutoAuction.com. You want to find out more information about going to an auto auction. Maybe you've never done it. You need a car. You got to check it out. It's impressive what they do, the amount of cars they roll through each week and that. So Chad Bailey and his staff at AkronAutoAuction.com. Thanks for being a part of the Saturday Morning Huddle. Marianne Donuts, the sweet play of the week, has been brought to you by Marianne Donuts here on the Huddle. It continues to be brought to you by Marianne Donuts. So we thank them for sticking with us. Community One Credit Union, we provide the player of the week for you, courtesy of Community One Credit Union. Back with us once again. Thank you so much for being a part of the Saturday Morning Huddle. DeHoff Realtor Ty Colucci jumping on board this year for the first time, buying and selling. If you need help there, by all means, Ty Colucci and what they do there, DeHoff Realtor, check them out. And Dirty Hands Excavating and Restoration. You need anything done like that, they are the people to get it done for you. So thanks to them for being a part of the Huddle. And Old Carolina Barbecue for our player of the game in all 3 games that we do each and every week. So thanks to all of our sponsors, John.
Yeah, Kenny's got the hat on. Nice product placement there with Old Carolina. And obviously, if you want to be part of the Huddle, reach out to us. Let us know, and you can always sponsor and be part of the Huddle. Ken, 4 weeks in, man, can't believe we're about to be to the halfway point next week, and I can't wait to break the Huddle again next Saturday and get our discussion going about the great games that we have coming up in Week 5. Week 4 was exciting. Yep. I think Week 5 is going to be even better.
I can't wait, John. Always looking forward to the games, but then getting up with you on the Saturday Morning Huddle and watch the Buckeyes tonight. Oh, there we go. Buckeyes against OU. Charlie Christopher, former Lake Blue Streak, right? He's going to get some action at middle linebacker on special teams tonight, wearing number 30 for OU, Stark County Player of the Year last year. So make sure you check him out. Best of luck to Charlie.
We'll see you guys next week.